sponsoring thugs against him in court. Borno Senator Ali Ndume vows to challenge President Buhari's $800 million loan request in court, and Governor Umahi suggests age and tenure limits for legislators. On the foreign scene, 39 sailors missing as Chinese vessel capsizes in the Indian Ocean. Details now. Thank you for staying with us. The World News at 6 begins with the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 presidential election, Peter Obi, today saying the All Progressive Congress, APC, would have succeeded in moving Nigeria forward if it had chosen Vice President Yemi Osinbajo as its presidential candidate in the 2023 elections. Obi, who is currently opposing the outcome of the presidential election at the tribunal, said the challenges confronting the country requires a healthy person at the helm of affairs. Let's take a listen to Peter Obi's statement today.
Nigeria war rules. I don't like it. Any day, any time. I will confront the APC. If you want it, why did you bring those back up? Let's have the place working for everybody. So that we have people who want to work for the country and are healthy and good. The person we brought out today is not as if he cannot do this 20 years ago, maybe. Not happy. Because the country needs someone like him 24 hours working.
Peter Obi made the statement while exchanging pleasantries with some guests at Dele Momodu's 63rd birthday in London. Chief Dele Momodu was chief spokesman of the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in the 2023 presidential elections. Obi, who was a strong member of the PDP and was the vice presidential running mate of the party in the 2019 elections, the former Anambra State governor was seen exchanging pleasantries with some guests and was explaining what he thought of Nigeria and the needed solutions. Reacting to Peter Obi's statement on Vice President Yemi Osinbajo is Ademola Adeyemi, a political analyst and a political affairs commentator.
Good evening, Mr. Ademola Adeyemi. Thank you so much for joining us on the World News at 6 p.m. today. Now, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the just concluded presidential elections, Peter Obi, has said that if the All Progressives Congress, the APC, really wanted Nigeria to work, they would have fielded Vice President Yemi Osinbajo as their presidential candidate. Now, you will recall that Vice President Osinbajo was also one of the candidates who bought form for the primaries before the delegates then voted for Bola Tinubu to represent the party. Now, him saying this, it makes Osinbajo seem like he would have been the best candidate to come out of the APC. But Osinbajo has been part of the APC administration as President Buhari's vice president for the past 8 years. How does the seeming lackadaisical attitude of the President Buhari's administration, how does it absolve him now that the Labour Party presidential candidate is saying he should have been the one that the APC would field? I would like to know your opinion on that. What makes Vice President Osinbajo different from every other APC politician or every other person who contested the APC presidential primaries?
Okay. Well, I'd like to begin that. Vice President Osinbajo, we all know how he emerged vice presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress in 2015. Because I personally read through his document, his details and everything, and I think which is still available. So if you look at the way Osinbajo emerged, if you look at his antecedents, you will find out that he's not one of these common Nigerian politicians that you will see today. is a different grade and how. This is a profession, a professor of law who has made his own name in his field, who is financially well off, and then his emergence was not as a result of one political arrangement or whatever. I don't think before he came to become the APC vice presidential candidate, of course, he was commissioner for justice in Lagos, and I think that was purely based on his legal acumen in terms of his legal prowess. I don't think it was up to any other thing. So I think that in terms of capacity, I don't think there's any Nigerian that would doubt the credentials that Osinbajo possesses on his capacity and his emergence as well. Like I said, I think you would agree with me that he didn't come into these so many controversial ways that you know Nigerian politicians to be accustomed with or accustomed to. He came in as a result of I think President Muhammadu Buhari is a Muslim, and then he had to be complemented by a Christian candidate. Away from Osinbajo's emergence. Now you're asking, how does, if Peter Obi is saying that if APC wanted development for Nigeria, they should have feeded Osinbajo, even though Peter Obi attacks the government of President Muhammadu Buhari. I think the answer is not so far-fetched. The thing is that in Nigeria today, our democracy has not developed to a point where the vice president or the deputy have so much to say in governance like that. Though they have their duties, they have their constitutional duties, they have this thing. But the truth is the constitution clearly delineates that the president is assisted by his own running mates. So he does, of course, there are other few constitutional duties that are, assigned to him, but he does jobs that are appointed or assigned to him by the president. Except in cases where the president is not around, then power is transmitted to him on a temporary basis as acting president. And as acting president, there is not so much you can do. There's a little you can do. So when it comes to being a vice, whether a vice president or a deputy governor or deputy of anything in Nigeria and Africa in general, our democracy has not developed to the point where the deputy is giving a free hand, so to speak, to influence governance in a way that he can have a large stake in what actually happened in that dispensation. So I feel that, yes, we cannot separate Osinbajo from the last administration. That is true. But you also have to understand that he was only a deputy president, a vice president, deputizing the president. There's only little he can do. There is only so far his influence can go. That is the truth. This is not confirmed now, but I think the time that, I think if you would want to, the time Osinbajo was acting president, there were certain things that I thought he did. The Niger Delta crisis, how he handled it, and several other things. You could see that Osinbajo is a forthright person, a proactive leader. So the fact is this, the fact that you're a vice president, your ability to lead, your ability to go.
Can you hear me, sir? Hello, sir.
Meanwhile, the embattled national chairman of the Labour Party, Lamidi Apapa, has accused the presidential candidate of the party, Peter Obi, and the party's suspended national chairman, Julius Abure, of sponsoring thugs against him at the Court of Appeal in Abuja, venue of the Presidential Election Petition Court today. You will recall that earlier today, Apapa was mobbed by some angry youths who were at the court to witness proceedings in the petition that Obi filed to challenge the outcome of the presidential election held on February 25. Speaking on the development in an exclusive interview today, the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Abayomi Arabambi, said he was surprised at how Obi Abure and their supporters intended to come at him and Apapa. When asked to provide proof, Arabambi said there was video evidence and insisted that they will petition the Inspector General of Police over the incident. In another development, Senator Ali Ndume, representing Borno South Senatorial District, has vowed to challenge the $800 million loan sought by President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. The president had sought Senate approval for $800 million loan to finance the National Social Safety Network program. According to the president, the loan from the World Bank is aimed at providing succor to the poorest citizens upon removal of the petrol subsidy. But Ndume, in a television interview, argued that the loan is unconstitutional and unfair. He alleged that the president was being misled, adding, and I quote, "What they are targeting is what they can get out of it, not what Nigerians can get. You can't quote me on that. Any of them come to challenge me on television. I will come back to explain myself. They are misleading the president." End quote. Elsewhere, the outgoing governor of Ebonyi State and Senator-elect Dave Umahi has suggested that legislators should have a fixed 3-term tenure and age limit of 70 years in the parliament. Speaking today, he suggested strongly that the tenure of the legislators should be fixed and there should be also age limit for the legislators. Umahi, who will be heading to the Senate in June after 2 terms as governor of Ebonyi State, disagreed with the notion that governors who are newly elected as legislators do not have cognate legislative experience. Umahi, who will be representing Ebonyi South Senatorial District in the 10th National Assembly, inaugurated in June, had aspired to be the Senate president before the All Progressive Congress APC zones the position to the South-South geopolitical zone, ceding it to former Akwa Ibom State Governor Godswill Akpabio. The Ebonyi State Governor said he has accepted the party's position because he respects the President-elect Bola Tinubu. In a tragic development, the Ogun State sector of the Federal Road Safety Commission, FRSC, today confirmed the death of a police officer on duty in a road accident reportedly caused by a speeding truck belonging to a firm in Ogun State. According to a statement by the FRSC spokesperson in the state, Florence Okwe, 5 other persons were injured in the crash along the Abeokuta-Lagos highway on Tuesday night. Okwe disclosed that 9 vehicles were involved in the crash, including the truck, a tipper, a yellow bus, an armored tank, a Toyota RAV4, and 3 motorcycles. While explaining that 8 persons, 7 male adults and 1 female adult, were involved in the crash, she said 4 male adults and 1 female adult were injured, pointing out that 1 person was killed while 2 were unhurt. The FRSC blamed the crash on speeding and wrongful overtaking by the truck driver, who was said to have lost control and crashed into other vehicles from the rear. On the issue of accusing the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, and the embattled Labour Party chairman, Julius Abure, here is an audio from Lamidi Apapa accusing the duo of allegedly sponsoring thugs to mob him at the court hearing tribunal today.
I decided to appear in court today to assert my authority as the national chairman of the party, and for me to hear from the lawyers how far they've gone. The first thing I experienced this morning was that Mr. Shontokun who was the Director General of Obi Campaign Group, was sitting on the seat of the Labour Party chairman. I went to him that in what capacity is he sitting on that seat? And as of today, since I'm here, I'm the right person to be on that seat. There was argument at that time, but we were asked to go and take our seats. That when the court starts fully, the proper introduction can be made. When the court session started, there was introduction, and I also stood up to tell the court that I'm representing the party. Because of the two names that accept the candidate as Peter Obi. But immediately after the close of the court, the arranged talks, which I believe Peter Obi is aware of, bounced on me, and Aburi, they bounced on me, remove my cards, they beat me up, and thank God, because if you are not there, I'm very sure I would have been dead, because they denied me to talk there, and they do all sorts of things to prevent me from addressing the press. But here we are again, that because of the love and belief in the rule of law, I'm still addressing you today. And what led to my being there today is what you know before, but for purpose of emphasis. The Aburi and three others have been restrained by this court, by the FCT court in Abuja here. And with all their pleas, the court remains the same. And because of that, I need to take over fully as their pleas. The court remains the same. And because of that, I need to take over fully as the acting national chairman of the party. But surprisingly, what happened today, we only took it lightly. Because my colleagues, they attended meetings with Obi groups and Aburi yesterday, day before yesterday and yesterday. And they boasted that if I should appear in court today, that heirs will roll. But my group took it lightly, that nothing will happen. But thank God we are still alive to see it. But my fear is this. Our principal is in tribunal to claim his mandate through the court of law. And the same person failed to obey the court of law. There's contradiction. And I want the whole world to interpret that behavior. Thank you so much.
You have just listened to the embattled chairman of the Labour Party, Lamidi Apapa, accusing Peter Obi and Julius Abure of sponsoring thugs to attack him at the court's tribunal hearing today. You're still listening to the World News at 6 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. After the break, we'll bring you stories on the foreign scene. Welcome back. Now, on the foreign scene, dozens of sailors have been declared missing after a Chinese fishing vessel capsized in the Indian Ocean. On board the vessel were 39 people, 17 Chinese crew members, 17 Indonesians, and 5 Filipinos. A search and rescue operation has been launched, according to the New Xinhua news agency. President Xi Jinping has ordered that all efforts be made to find survivors of the ill-fated seacraft. The distant water fishing vessel is owned by Penglai Jinglu Fishery Company Limited, based in the Shandong province. China's Maritime Search and Rescue Center has informed countries near the ocean of the accident. The Foreign Ministry has also directed its missions in Australia, Sri Lanka, the Maldives, Indonesia, the Philippines, and others to coordinate operations. And that's it on the World News at 6. Just before we wrap up, let's take a look at the main points again. You heard that Peter Obi has said the APC should have presented Osinbajo as presidential candidate in the interest of Nigerians. You also heard that Lamidia Papa has accused Peter Obi and Julius Abure of sponsoring thugs against him in court. Borno Senator Ali Ndume has vowed to challenge President Buhari's $800 million loan request in court, and Governor Umahi has suggested an age and tenure limits for legislators. On the foreign scene, 39 sailors are missing as Chinese vessel capsizes in the Indian Ocean. And that's it on the World News at 6. My name is Chioma Innocent. Please follow our social media handles at VOP903FM. For coverage of your live events and brand news mentions on our news bulletins, do send a mail to news@voiceofthepeople.ng. Good evening and thank you for listening.